warning you, Joe Lindner warning you, Noel Dyel. All experienced PD users, all warning you of the dangers of what it feels like when you come off. Coach Reagan in today's video, none other than Joe Lindner and Noel Dyel go into details on what they do when they come off cycle. That's right, they're not always on cycle. They do in fact come off. And they in fact explain in detail the PCT, what they take, how they feel, what it does to their sex drive, their mood, their mental state, their physical well-being, everything.
I was 105 kgs once and had a nice clothing, blah, blah, blah. And then you go natty and then your shoulders and stuff is just...
And so Joe Lindner says when you go off cycle, you lose a lot of weight, your clothes don't fit, and it cookbooks with your head.
You want to be up, you're down. You want to be down, you're up. The scale is my worst enemy. I just gauge it by how clothes feel on me.
And Noel Dyel, the same thing. When he goes off cycle, the clothes, they don't fit the same. The shoulders, the traps, the muscles, they shrink. And it really messes up with their heads, both of them. And so if you think, oh, I'm just going to do one cycle and then I'll stop. No, you're not. Once you see that size, once you feel like Superman, you're not going to want to let it go away. And so coming off gear, very difficult to do. Noel in particular hates seeing the scale go down. When he's off cycle, the numbers, they keep dropping. When you're on cycle, of course you're able to quickly put on muscle. But all good things come to an end, and eventually you have to cycle off.
That's why I'm saying don't even start using that stuff, bro, because you might get hooked. So I used to do the same. I used to go on cycle once a year.
And so Noel, he would only do one cycle per year, but coming off, very difficult to handle mentally. It's not just how you look physically, it's also how you feel mentally, emotionally. And so Joe Aesthetics, when he would come off cold turkey, no PCT whatsoever. First 2 weeks, fine, no problem. But come weeks 3, 4, 5, and 6 and beyond, felt like a nightmare. Noel Dyel, in comparison, it still felt bad, but not as much as Joe Lindner. And why? Well, Noel did it right. He went on a proper PCT, post-cycle therapy. And when the PCT was over, he switched to natural test boosters such as Doucette Ali. This allowed him to continue to train hard. Not as hard as before, never felt as good as when he was on, but it was enough to get him through the workouts to retain as much muscle as possible. And so if you've ever taken PDs and come off, smart idea to do a PCT and to take test boosters. You might be thinking, no, but they don't work. Listen, I get it. Those were the test boosters of old, from the past. But newer test boosters, newer research shows that you can in fact improve testosterone levels.
So I would typically PCT, and post PCT I would run like Doucette Ali, the more natural testosterone boosters.
Doucette Ali that Noel Dyel just explained. Ashwagandha as well that Jeff Nippert himself takes, who says that test boosters, they don't really work, but yet he takes what's in the test boosters. And these are in 3 tests. These ingredients, they are shown to work in research, and so highly recommend. You could also take G-Test, all the ingredients of 3 tests, and much, much more. If you're deficient on minerals, vitamins, and so on, you may not have the test levels that you can have. And so if you do ever decide to go on tests, which of course we highly encourage that you don't, and once you decide to come off, it is going to be a nightmare. And so you need to do everything and anything to try to keep as much muscle as you can.
Generally by about 3 weeks it should start, depending on the esters, it should start coming out of your system. But by week 4, you'll start to noticeably see and feel the differences.
And the great point brought up by Noel says, depending on the ester, by weeks 3 or 4, it's starting to really come out of your system and you can notice the change. Psychological changes, physical as well. You don't feel like yourself anymore. And many people, they hop back on. They can't even make it through it. They can't stay off. They know they should, they know they need to, but because the psychological and physical impacts are so strong, they just can't do it. And so if you haven't taken PDs before, you need to be cautious. Once you start, it is extremely difficult to stop. Do not take these decisions lightly. I'm warning you, Joe Lindner warning you, Noel Dyel. All experienced PD users, all warning you of the dangers of what it feels like when you come off.
I personally, I never had that because it doesn't matter how bad it was gonna be, I was doing it. And I became weak that I just even after 3-4 months.
And so Joe Lindner says, I don't care. I'm gonna be man enough. I can do it without it. However, he'd get 3 to 4 months off And he says, I need to go back. I can't handle it. I can't do it. And so if you think it's easy to stop, that steroids they're not addictive. Well, they're not addictive, but yet it's very difficult to stop them. And many people who've abused PEDs, well, guess what? They're on HRT. Coach Greg, on HRT for life. I don't want to come off forever. Do you know how horrible and miserable you are when you're off PEDs? I went on and off steroids, would do 2 cycles a year. While you're on, feel amazing. When you're off, feel like garbage. Look at James English, turned IFBB pro. Young guy, world's his oyster. Yet he has a hard time going to the gym.
I have not been motivated to lift for since prep.
And he's not even off, he's not natural, he's still taking testosterone. Yet it's not enough. And so what happens? You go back on. And so you live the life cycling on steroids, off steroids. And so you need to know this. Taking steroids is not a simple decision. It's not, oh, I'm just going to do 1 cycle, put on 20 pounds, look like a Greek god, and then I'll stop after that. It's not the case. Not going to happen. Be careful what you wish for.
A lot of people, they don't make it through 4, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, when the real bad effects started. You don't feel that good anymore, look that good anymore.
And so Joe says a lot of people, they only go off for 1 or 2, maybe even 4 weeks, and they're back on because they're starting to lose their looks and they just can't deal with it. He's saying a proper time off is twice as long as time on. Now, personally, I don't agree with that. If we're actually talking about how long should you cycle off versus how long you're on, I do believe the same length of time off as on does make sense. So if you're doing 12-week cycles, you should be off for 12 weeks. Let's face it, how many people are going to go on for 12 weeks and then go off for 24? By the end of the 24 weeks, you would almost have lost every ounce of muscle you put on during the first 12. And so, does it really make sense? Is it worth it? I'm going to tell you right now, it is not. If you have to go off twice as long as when you're on, don't even bother in the first place. My opinion, and this is just my own opinion, I'm not encouraging you to take anything, is I'd rather be on a very low dose all the time than be on Superman doses for 12 weeks and then off for 24. To me, that makes no sense. For 12 weeks, can't wait to train every day. I can't wait to go to the gym. Then for 24 weeks, I don't want to train. Every day I get smaller. Every time I set foot in the gym, I've lost strength. Why would anyone want to do that? That's even less logical than bulking cutting. Oh, I want to get fat half the year and get shredded the other.
Until I at one point, I fucked myself up and decided with the doctor to stay on TRT.
And so what did Joe end up doing? Same as Coach Greg, HRT. Low dose, healthy, all the time. Rather than big dose, 3 months, 6 months, lose the muscle, does it not make more sense to always feel good? To always have good energy, always think clearly, always sleep well, always have a strong libido, versus having 3 months of being Superman and then 6 months of feeling like dog shit.
Those will sometimes
Cookbooks!
So bad, mentally, emotionally. That's a roller coaster.
It's not easy. You need to be stronger, more motivated than ever in order to continue to train when you know every day you go to the gym, you're simply going to get weaker.
But in order to also become a stronger individual and prove yourself this discipline that you gained, you push through that. And then, you know what I mean, you set this goal, I'm going to go off 3 months and then stick to it and not just get weak and jump back on and all this thing.
And so does it sound worth it? 3 months of fun and then the tough, impossible journey that you have to prove to yourself you can do it for 3 to 6 months after. Why would you bother? Does it not make more sense to just stay natural? I mean, really, is it all worth it? And so what happens? Those who end up taking PEDs, they don't go on and off the way they should. They just go on and on again until eventually they get older. And for example, Seth Ferosi goes to the doctor and says, do you want to live? Do you want to be here on this earth when your kids grow up? And you say, that makes sense. I made some stupid mistakes when I'm younger. I'm no longer going to do that. And you go on HRT, or perhaps you can completely go off if you're lucky. And so if you're natural right now, really think about it. Listen to the people who have done it. They're sharing you their honest experience of what it's like when you come off. It is hard. And so Noel points out they can't handle the reduction in size and strength, stamina, all these things. And so they stop the injectables, but then they're taking orals in the meantime while they wait to go back on the injectables. But that's not good. Those are still hormones. That doesn't allow your body to recover. And so whether you're on injectables or orals, if you're on either or, you're on. If you're off, you're off. You can't be taking a bunch of different things.
Coming off and just running clean for someone that has been on, a lot of guys just
don't even want to go to the gym.
Think of it. They love the gym so much, they love working out so much that they take PDs, but then when they go off of them, they can't even go to the gym. What does that tell you? The people who really love it, they can't wait, I can't wait to train. They go off PDs, I don't want to train anymore. Imagine that happening to you.
Yeah, I definitely started to increase all my supplement intake.
Their workouts.
Yeah, pre-workouts and all that. Or I would be using so much more like beta-alanine and all that stuff, like things that help you to not get that burn that much.
And so when you're on PDs, you don't need supplements. You feel great all the time. Hey, fantastic. I don't need pre-workout. Think of it. You've just taken test, Anavar, whatever. You go to the gym, you get a great pump. But when you're off, you need everything, every single thing you can take to try to get you through that workout. And so people start abusing pre-workouts, double, triple scooping, taking everything they can. And nothing wrong with maximizing the natural supplements, but they're taking all of this just to get a glimpse of how it felt to be on actual PDs.
And what sort of personality do you have? Do you have an addictive personality? Because if you do, it's going to be very difficult to accept and come off.
Once you've taken PDs, you can't go back. And what you will suffer from once you stop, that is lifelong. And so please make the right choice. Think harder than last time before deciding to take anything. Hope you learned something from the video. Go watch the original video on Joel Lindner's channel. Important topic. Hope more people see this. Ending it here. Looking for harder than last time supplements, natural products? Click the link in description. Go to gregdoucette.com or htltsubs.com. Use code GREG, 10% off. That's right. Also, training books, cookbooks, circle diet book, coaching plans by me and my team. Subscribe, click the bell button, like the video if you liked it, and until next time, I'm out.